all the power, not some of the power, all of the power belongs to the people. This is our country. We tell government what they can and cannot do. They do not control the people. This is our country. We're going to take it back. We're circling the walls of Jericho. People are praying in this country. We're circling the walls of Jericho, and God Almighty's going to tear the walls down, and we're going to take America back again. You watch it happen. You watch it happen. You send that message to Bill Barr at the Justice Department. Do your job. You work for us, Attorney General Barr. Do your job. You tell the director of the FBI, do your damn job. You work for us. Investigate this fraud. And tell the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, get out of our country. You don't spy on Americans. You're not going to ever do it again in America. Thank God for Donald Trump. God Almighty created every one of us, and He created Donald Trump, and He gave him a task to fulfill in his life, and that was to be President of the United States in 2020, and he's going to be President of the United States for 4 more years. Watch it happen. The people will not allow it to be taken away from them, and neither will Almighty God. God's going to save this country.
Welcome to the Bill Mason Show. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing well. Listen to the Reverend Lin Wood.
That sounds like a preacher, doesn't it?
Yeah, he really does. High energy and with the MAGA hat on. Mm-hmm. Yet, he's coming under fire. And I seem to wonder, does that mean he's over the target? Are they trying to, once again get patriots to kind of be confused and not back somebody who's over the target? Or is he really a closet Democrat? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I heard some disturbing things today about he backed Obama and some other Democrats in the past.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I love his speaking. I mean, he puts his point across. He does a good job. Supposedly, he's a great attorney.
Absolutely. And the other thing that, I was talking about when I read, it was a Breitbart article that I read and, discussed it with somebody else who was a former Democrat that said, hey, man, look, I was the same way. I thought Obama was going to do, all these great things. And, I was a Democrat, and then I saw the direction this country was going. And he was like, I voted for Donald Trump twice because in the end, I love America. So there are a lot of former people who were Democrats that are coming around, and I'm not going to, lambaste them for doing it. So, I really don't know, but why Breitbart would come out with some kind of article and just try to, take him down the road and beat him with chains because of the donations. It looks like his priorities are in a better direction now, if you ask me.
They are. I mean, sure, anybody could change. I mean, Trump was a Democrat before. He switched to more conservative.
He admitted it.
Right. So, I mean, if he can do it, Lin Wood can do it, everybody can do it. So, now them telling people not to vote for the Republican candidates in Senate, that's kind of wrong. Did he actually say that, or is he, tell me what's going on with that bill?
The theory behind that, and this is off of OAN when he called in, he said, if no conservatives turn out, and it'll really show the fact that there's a fraud going on. Like he's probably trying to get around the fact that they're going to fake a 52 to 47.5 election, and he's saying that if no one turns out on the conservative side, then we'll know that they're faking it. He's trying to call their bluff essentially, which is dangerous because then it becomes, well, what if it's 80%? and 80% Democrat and 20% Republican, and then everybody goes, well, none of us voted, and they go, well, obviously some of you did, and then boom, we still lose. So it's a really hard gamble to play.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to still vote, they're going to still vote regardless. So
Right.
we need to come out and vote.
Right. I mean, what he was talking about was trying to just blatantly prove how crooked they are, that even if you don't participate, they're still going to be, his example was, it's like, the Lakers not showing up to play Chicago, and Chicago saying, hey, the Lakers gave us a great game, but we won. That was his kind of point, but it's just too dangerous. I can't imagine not voting, for what I believed in, at least trying to.
Right. You gotta try to. You gotta vote, and if they still it again, you gotta keep on voting, because we gotta do something about this. And supposedly, of course, Trump was talking about martial law.
Yeah, I mean, this country would be 100% or 180 degrees after a martial law situation, a contested election. I mean, we really are going down a path of banana republics, and I really don't like that.
No, I don't like that either. So, but think about it. I mean, they stole the election. You just can't let it go by. You just can't let it go. You can't.
You can, and if you don't, or if you don't do anything to stop it, and like I said, then all of a sudden, what we were talking about before, the world is watching. This is not just about you and me and our viewers. The whole world is watching the evidence of the pulling ballots from under tables, and finding ballots and changing ballots, and these affidavits that were signed by, now it's in the thousands of people who are willing to go under oath and testify. Yeah. This is not like an anomaly. This is like something that was widespread. Yeah. So I mean, you have to stand up for something.
Yeah. Speaking of bags underneath the table, I mean, we have a video of that. We have two videos actually. We're going to show you back to back how they pull these bags underneath the table as everybody left.
Yeah, when they kicked everybody out, when they were stopping. Oh, we're going to stop for the night.
Yeah, this is in Georgia, by the way, so take a look.
Okay.
By the way, look at the upper right-hand corner. That's what you should look at, upper right-hand corner.
Upper right, yeah.
So the Republican observers said they were the last people to leave State Farm Arena, along with the Fox News crew, excepting those 4 people. So what you're going to see, look at the ladies in yellow. You'll see that they will begin just sitting still, doing nothing, ostensibly not working, because after all, they said they're going to stop counting. They will wait until the witnesses over there in that roped off area, the press and the observers, leave the room. Then you'll see them move into action and begin scanning ballots. Okay, so I think what we can do now is fast forward to about 11. Do you see them? Yeah. Okay, there they walk. They're walking off. But the ladies in yellow are still there. Yes, keep your eyes on the lady in purple and the 2 in yellow and the woman in the blue apron with blonde braids, because those are the people who stay behind. Okay, so what you're going to see happen at about 11 o'clock is, once everyone is gone, coast is clear, they are going to pull ballots out from underneath a table. Watch this table. So actually this will take a few minutes, but we did not know when we first watched this, okay, is it normal to store suitcases of ballots under a table, under a tablecloth? Is that how they run the place? There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table.
Ah, look, there's more.
Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out. So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question. So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race.
There's not supposed to be activity with election workers if there's not public view. That's the law in Georgia.
There you go. That's the proof right there. There you go.
There it is. I mean, it reminds me of almost like a magician's table. You know how the magician always has like a cloth that goes all the way to the floor?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why were all those tables covered with tablecloths that went all the way to the floor? Well, obviously to conceal something.
Right.
Like, to put it in perspective, I don't have video of it, but I was watching counties in Louisiana. Now, granted, Louisiana was very simple. They were like Costco tables, but you could see underneath them.
Right.
All of them. So there was no, what do I got up this sleeve in Louisiana? And they managed to count all their votes and pull it out.
Right.
So, I mean, this looks nefarious just from me being the guy who was always watching a magician going, he got that from under the table. That was me.
Yeah,
So
no one's going to put ballots underneath the table with a tablecloth and wait for everybody to leave.
yeah,
If it's all up
that's
and
the
up.
thing. The tablecloth went all the way to the floor.
Yeah.
What's the point of that other than to conceal something that's under a table?
Yes. So,
Oh, really?
I mean, just right there, if Supreme Court saw that, they would overturn Georgia in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely. And also Michigan had a very similar thing where they had like I don't know if it was cardboard or laminate or something that was blocking a whole row of tables along a wall. What for? Why do you need to block what's underneath the table? That's a big eye opener for me that went on so rampant.
Well, Lin Wood had to sue to get this videotape.
Yeah, and that's the craziest thing is that the some of the GOP challengers that were trying to use their phones and they were holding them up, they were the ones that got thrown out. Like the people would say like, you're not allowed to film in here and whatever, and they would throw them out because of it. Because obviously they're worried about stuff on video. That's evidence.
Exactly. Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, even if they overturn Georgia, they still have to overturn. They can't overturn these other small states. They have to overturn like Pennsylvania because
Yeah.
that's 20 electoral college votes.
Which
Georgia,
is a
16.
possibility.
They do overturn those two. Then it goes to the House. But they
Yeah,
have to do those
Pennsylvania
two.
is definitely still on the table. Like from listening to Giuliani today, if those people certify those votes with all these allegations, and now it's there's people in the House that are willing to investigate, it's going to be really tough on them to not be considered like what's that, felony? It's a felony charge. It's perjury.
Right.
If you know there is pure evidence of fraud and you certify votes anyway, it's perjury.
Yeah.
So they're going to be in trouble, and some people are willing to go down, like the Secretary of State from Pennsylvania. She's willing to go down, or the woman from Philadelphia as well. She's like, I'm willing to testify to anything.
They'll die
So-
for Biden, I guess.
They will die. They will go down with the ship.
Let's take a look at 80 million votes, what that represents. Take a look.
Yeah.
Trump, look at that. All that crowd, 74. Obama, big crowds. And look at Biden. Circles.
Oh yeah, packing them in, man.
Yeah, nobody showed up. He didn't have to campaign.
No, I think they told him not to. Like there were people in the assessment community that were saying the less he campaigns, the better. Because
Yeah.
every time he went out, he made a fool out of himself or someone else.
Right.
So they pretty much kept his appearances to a minimum. And even Kamala Harris, that's the funny thing. For as make-believe enthusiastic as they said the black community was about Kamala Harris, when she went solo to some of these cities, you would think like, wow, Kamala Harris should be able to really pack in some people.
Right.
Nope, same thing, 30, 40, maybe 100 was the biggest crowd I saw Kamala pack in. I think it was in Illinois somewhere, maybe even Chicago. But that's the thing. Even Kamala wasn't packing anybody in. No one's excited about those two.
No, they're not. And Trump pointed that out during debate too, as well.
Yeah. I mean, if you really think about it, Kamala dropped out of the presidential. She couldn't get not a single elector to support her.
Mhm.
So she had no support in the Democratic Party at all.
She did. No one wanted to vote for her.
No one. And now all of a sudden she's this savior. And I don't know, man. I think if she was really sure that this win was in pocket, she would have resigned already from the Senate, which she still hasn't resigned from the Senate.
Right.
So they're not even sure that they won.
Right.
This is all like a media show, like we're going to make the big show. We're going to put signs up like we won. We're going to have the office of president-elect. And you guys are going to make believe it's like, little kids playing house. I mean, this is nuts.
It is. All right, well, let's take a look at now. Trump made a big speech the other night, 46 minutes, so we're not going to show it all here, of course. We have one video is a minute long, another one's a minute long. So a very powerful speech about the fraud that happened. Let's take a look at that, okay?
Thank you. This may be the most important speech I've ever made. I want to provide an update on our ongoing efforts to expose the tremendous voter fraud and irregularities which took place during the ridiculously long November 3rd elections. We used to have what was called Election Day. Now we have election days, weeks and months, and lots of bad things happened during this ridiculous period of time, especially when you have to prove almost nothing to exercise our greatest privilege, the right to vote. As president, I have no higher duty than to defend the laws and the Constitution of the United States. That is why I am determined to protect our election system, which is now under coordinated assault and siege. For months leading up to the presidential election, we were warned that we should not declare a premature victory. We were told repeatedly that it would take weeks, if not months, to determine the winner, to count the absentee ballots, and to verify the results. My opponent was told to stay away from the election. Don't campaign. We don't need you. We've got it. This election is done. In fact, they were acting like they already knew what the outcome was going to be. They had it covered, and perhaps they did, very sadly for our country. It was all very, very strange. Within days after the election, we witnessed an orchestrated effort to anoint a winner, even while many key states were still being counted. The constitutional process must be allowed to continue. We are going to defend the honesty of the vote by ensuring that every legal ballot is counted and that no illegal ballot is counted. This is not just about honoring the votes of 74 million Americans who voted for me. It's about ensuring that Americans can have faith in this election and in all future elections. Many very smart people have congratulated me on all we've done. The biggest tax cuts in history, regulation cuts, the biggest in history. We rebuilt our military. We took care of our vets like never before. Space Force, and so much more. But then they went on to say, as big and as important as these events were, the single greatest achievement in your presidency will be exactly what you're doing right now, voter integrity for our nation. It's more important than any of the things that we discussed. If we don't root out the fraud, the tremendous and horrible fraud that's taken place in our 2020 election, we don't have a country anymore. So with the resolve and support of the American people, we will restore honesty and integrity to our elections, and we will restore trust in our system of government. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America.
All right. Of course, CNN, no mainstream media played that speech.
No, and I'm surprised that the one made it to Facebook. To be honest with you, I really am, because you know, every time Donald Trump, especially on Twitter, every time Donald Trump tweets, and they act as if he's a president who's not allowed to talk about the election. Like they've created this little orb of fact checkers who only they're allowed to talk about the election. Everybody else can't mention it, including us. So I mean, this is like the weird thing that you straddle, where you're watching all the popular social platforms circle the wagons around Biden and try to protect this idiot long enough to go through into late December, where, like I was watching OAN today, this really is where all the Democrats are quiet because the Hail Mary pass is in the air and everybody's in the end zone and they're just like literally waiting to see what happens. Like a lot of us are. I mean, I want to see, actual crimes or actual things that were done that are, not lawful be actually prosecuted and have these people get charged. This is enough already for me.
Yeah, somebody, again, we've been saying this for a year now.
Somebody's
Somebody's got to
gotta
go to jail. Yes.
Holy cow, because this is going to be an asterisk in history. The 116 Democrats are the worst people, worst humans, abusing their power for 4 years, like literally running Trump over the coals, having to be investigated, like a fake impeachment, all of the things that they did that didn't work. And now they're cheating in an election on top of all that. And they're still not 100% going to win. So, I mean, honestly, Trump is a lion, man. If there was anyone else in this position, they would have buckled under pressure 9 months ago. They would have been curled up in a ball. Mitt Romney would be sucking his thumb underneath the Resolute desk.
Yeah, he'd been crying a long time ago.
Forget about it. Trump is the only guy who could tolerate this level of daily, like just getting beat from every angle. I mean, he's just rolling his sleeves up and fighting. And honestly, the press wanted him to stomp his feet and say, oh, if the electors choose Biden, I'm not leaving. You know what he said?
Right.
I'll leave, but I'll come back in 2024. So, here we are. We're at this point where we're all watching levels of fraud in government and levels of corruption that I think none of us wanted to admit were there. But the deep state is real, man, and we're watching them all circle the wagons around each other. Right. And now they can't hide anymore. Now we know who they are. And whether Trump wins or loses, it changes the way a lot of people think about, state and local government and how they think about big government. And, even people that are, considering changing parties. This might have been the nail in the coffin. There are Democrats that know that they're cheating and they're like, wow, this is terrible. This is bad. This is bad for America. This is bad for, everything that we stand for. So I think they're going to lose more people. And even if Trump doesn't pull this off, I think in the midterm elections, it's going to be just a red wave of people that are done with this crap.
Yeah, it's going to be a bloodbath, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. So hopefully this all gets worked out and between now and in January. So
yeah.
Now, as far as Iran, this breaking news that Trump did get a green light to attack Iran. He told his chief of staff, his chief of staff of the military, that you can attack, but don't go into a full-blown war. Well,
we pretty much know how surgical the military can be. Like the difference between Trump and Obama is Obama would send in drones that killed civilians. Trump's like a laser surgeon, man. So whatever happens here is going to be worthwhile. I mean, if they do take out one aspect of Iran that makes Israel be able to finish the job, that might be the case.
Right. Yeah. So the chairman of the Joint Chiefs is I guess getting plans to attack. But I don't think they're going to attack directly. I think they'll try it covertly. Bring SEALs team or
Yeah.
CIA or whatever, attack the nuke facility. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Now we have the Hezbollah leader today talking about if we attack Iran. Take a
Oh,
look. Take a look what he said. Now you have to read it. He's speaking in Arabic, but take a
yeah.
look.
I'll read it. Mr. Trump,
أن السيد ترامب والإدارة
his
عنده
administration
وأجهزة
and his
مخابراته
intelligence services
يعرفون جيدا
knows very well
أن الحرب
that
على
the war on
إيران
Iran
لن
will
تبقى
not
عند
stay in
حدود إيران.
Iran.
أن
That the war
الحرب
on
على
Iran
إيران
means
يعني
all the
كل
region will be under
المنطقة
fire.
ستشتعل. كل المنطقة
All the
ستشتعل.
region will be under fire.
وكل
And
القوات
all the
كل
U.S. forces
القوات
and the U.S.
الأمريكية
interests in the region will be wiped
والمصالح
out.
الأمريكية في المنطقة ستباد. وكل
And
الذين
all those who conspired will pay the price. Israelis and Saudis at
وأولهم
first.
إسرائيل وآل سعود.
There you go. You did a good job.
Yeah, I think I nailed it.
Yeah, you speak good accent there in Arabic.
Yeah, I nailed it. But
All right.
anyway, I mean, let's talk about Iran for a second, because I'm watching them play this two sides thing. Like if you watch Al Jazeera, you'll see that Iran is going, oh, poor us. I can't believe that one of our greatest scientists, oh man, what a great loss it is to us. And then deep down in Iran, they're like showing like, look at our nuclear missiles. This is what this guy did for us. And it's like, yeah, here it is. It's in the streets of Tehran. They're like basically showing like, hey, look at what we got because of this guy. I mean, and then, like it says in the headline, they passed a law banning inspectors. So like now you're not allowed to go in. So if Biden, it even says at the bottom that Biden has said he's ready to renew the Iran deal.
Oh yeah,
They
definitely.
already just outlawed inspectors. So it's not going to happen.
No, and look down there too, and in that area, we're the #1 show.
Yeah, #1 show in Israel, which is great. Thank you, Israel.
Thank you, Israel. Appreciate that. So yeah, look at them. I mean, I don't even think that those missiles can even hit anything. To be honest with you.
I mean, honestly, they look like surplus Russian ones from like the 80s. Remember when Russia used to have those parades in the 80s?
Yeah, the Scud missiles.
Yeah, it looks like basically a glorified Scud, and that looks like an Avis rental truck that they're going to launch it from. I seriously doubt that even works.
Oh boy, we'll see. And now we also have the Iranian remote control too as well with the scientists. Let's talk
Oh
about
yeah.
that.
We showed this video last episode, but now Israel is saying that it was a remote control machine gun that self-destructs after it uses all the ammo. So it's something that, they pop up on a tripod on the side of the road. It has an ID chip in the car or whatever, and then it just lights up the car.
Wow, that's like 007 all the way.
Oh yeah, man. I'm sure our military is pretty close to that level. And if the Israelis have something like that, I'm pretty sure it's in our hands too.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right. Well, we'll see what happens over in Iran. It's like we showed last show, like we showed the night show before that. It's going to happen between now and January. So.
And honestly, I thought that like everybody thought like us, like we should really pay attention. You're not hearing about any of this on like the major news channels. Like you really have to go to like an Al Jazeera, or you have to go to like some Israeli newspaper like I did or whatever to really get this kind of news. So you're welcome.
Yeah. You have to go to the Bill Mason show.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. So now we're going on to our Stranger Things segment. Stranger Things. So last week we talked about the monolith.
Yep.
It popped up in Utah and it disappeared. Popped up in Romania. I don't know if it disappeared yet, but it's still there. I understand.
Yeah.
Now it popped up again in California.
Yeah, I mean, if this is a thing, I mean, people are taking pictures next to it. They love it.
Yeah, like I said pre-show, we should have one built, and we'll pop up in Florida or Pennsylvania, and it'll show the Bill Mason sign on there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to start working on that this weekend, maybe a smaller version.
No, we got to make it the same height.
I'm going to need some help then. That thing looks tall and heavy.
All right. Well, let's take a look at the one in California, okay?
All right. is shiny. Nice craftsmanship.
It is
man.
shiny.
That is nice. Nice top.
My son just showed me something on social media, so we decided to make the hike at the last minute just to come on up and take a look for myself, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't here yesterday.
I think it disappeared from Utah and landed right here in Atascadero.
There we go.
I mean, I was just looking up online. That may be illegal in California too, because in California, anything hollow in excess of 4 inches is considered a straw.
Really?
So that may be absolutely illegal in California. That is not a stirrer. That is definitely considered like a long aluminum or stainless steel straw. That could be definitely illegal.
That could be. Now, it kind of reminds me of the Georgia Guidestones a little bit. I know it.
Yeah,
Georgia
can you
Guidestone
imagine
is a little bit bigger, and it's has the tablets and stuff like that. But it just reminds me of that for some reason.
Yeah, and how people are like gathering around it. I mean,
Mhm.
it's so simple. There's no words on it. It's just clean,
Right.
shiny metal or whatever. But you're right. I think maybe if a Bill Mason one pops up somewhere, maybe we'll be able to boost the show a little more without YouTube's
Yep.
approval.
Maybe we'll put on the sides, put down, an Arabic and Egyptian on one side, and
Yeah,
maybe Hebrew on one side. It'll just repeat the Bill Mason show.
yeah. We'll just it'll look like it came from another world. And
Yeah,
everybody will
and no one
ponder
would
it.
know what it says unless you look it up. It says the Bill Mason show.
There you go. We have to be cryptic and get
Mm.
free advertising. Maybe NBC will boost our show.
Or CNN.
CNN definitely. Hey, CNN, I think they're closet fans now, because as long as we're not, on the same level as, what's that guy's name? Zucker?
Well, I heard Zucker mentions the Bill Mason show on one of the calls that they recorded at Project
the 9
Veracom.
a.m. call. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, we have to worry about those guys. They're on the radar.
That's right. All right. So we hadn't showed any of those videos of the calls because I looked at all of them and I didn't see anything earth-shattering about them.
Well, the problem is I think that they're trickling them out. The one that came out today was actually, pretty good, where they were talking about avoiding the Michael Flynn, pardon. Let's not talk about that. We don't want to give Trump any positives or anything. Like, that's the real indicator, I think, that overall is that you realize that they're worried about positive things towards Trump. That's what they're really worried about. And they're definitely going to push the negative narrative, but they're not going to let any achievement of Donald Trump get aired on CNN ever.
No.
Ever.
Of course not. Why would they?
But if they were a news network, like the name implies,
So CNN cable news network?
yeah, if they were a news network, like the name implies, news would be good or bad. It wouldn't matter, but
They probably should
obviously
change
not.
the name to CDOMN, Cable Democrat Opinion News. I don't know.
Basically, because it's well, we all know now that there's a propaganda machine that works with the Democrats. They're like cylinders, man. They fire. And we showed on several of our episodes, and to the new subscribers, thank you, but you maybe need to go back like at least 4 or 5 shows to catch up. We showed how these media puppets are literally repeating the same thing word for word every day, over and over again, like they're trying to hypnotize you. And it's not even real news. It's fake news that they're just repeating in mass. And that's the thing that's the most annoying to, like I said, like some of our watchers, a guy who emailed me, he says, hey man, I'd rather have it straight, even if I don't like it. You know, I'd rather have straight news. And I think that's how we are. I mean, honestly.
Well, this is unscripted. We don't edit anything. If we say something wrong, we don't go back and fix it. Of course, we never say anything wrong, though.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we're live,
Right.
but we're not live. So, like,
Right.
we just go at it. But, you know, if we say something wrong, we fix it the next show. I mean, I've mispronounced people's names before, and, you know, it happens.
Yeah, I mean, a few minutes ago, I was trying to think of chairman of Joint Chiefs, and I couldn't think of that for some reason. So
Right.
things
And that's
like
what
that,
happens.
it's like, you know, you have to think off the hip, unfortunately.
Yeah, we shoot from the hip and we're live. But, you know, the other thing that I think, you know, we were talking about pre-show was that to grow like a channel, there was so much more opportunity before this election cycle. Once this election cycle kicked in, it didn't matter if you had facts, truth. It didn't matter what you were saying. It was just you were not the chosen person to be able to talk about the election. And then you were going to get limited, throttled, you know what I mean? Kicked out. You can't promote on Facebook. You can't promote on Instagram. You can't promote anything because you're talking about current events that are actually happening. And like, we are our opinion, and we know that we're opinion, but we're not trying to be news. But now it's like opinion is not allowed. Opinion is not allowed. You know, even if we take actual footage from another person's newscast and talk about it, oh, you mentioned the wrong thing. Boom, you're throttled. It's really hard to get real
Throttled
information.
or taken off. You know, we've been taken off. Several videos were taken off.
Yeah, it's nuts how limiting something that was a platform for expression. I mean, let's not forget how YouTube started. It was cat videos and how to make the perfect souffle. And I mean, that's literally what got YouTube off the ground. And as content creators started getting millions and millions of views, they, you know, were monetizing. Now they're demonetizing people.
Then Google bought them.
That's the thing. It's so crazy that someone who really has no need for the revenue from another platform, but what they do need is to limit the scope of the context and the speech of what people are out there talking about. And that's the scary thing about 2020 that also was revealed, is that we have overlords that let us not talk in public because we'll be locked down from COVID, and we're not allowed to talk online. And even your Zoom meetings can be monitored now. I just saw a thing on that, you know, certain Zoom meetings can be logged into by government entities. So, I mean, this is a crazy time to be alive.
It is. Never in the history of free speech has been so limited as of right now.
This is nuts. I mean, I really need to see this election cycle, you know, win or lose. If they can prove Donald Trump lost and Joe Biden really got 80 million votes, I will suck it up and take 4 years of that numbskull. But if they don't investigate this crap, no one is going to sit for this. No one.
No, I agree. So that's the show tonight. I appreciate you watching. Check us out. We normally upload our videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And emergency shows. If something really crazy is going on, we will pop on an emergency to make sure you get it.
Yeah, once Iran is attacked, we will pop on to an emergency show.
Yeah, because that's our thing. We like to have our finger on the pulse.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and you have a wonderful night.
Good night, everyone.